and welcome to Update Novi. I'm your host, Cheryl Walsh, and with me today, as always, is the Honorable Mayor Bob Gatt. Welcome, Mayor.
Thank you for having me again.
We are on location in Novi, and let me set the stage a little bit. A couple years ago, we began a Novi branding campaign, for lack of better terms. I am Novi, and the audience probably has seen it in their calendar, in e-newsletters, in Engage, a variety of different things, t-shirts that we all wear.
Everything.
And when we started thinking about going a little bit more, adding some video to it, maybe putting some human interest stories to it, I am Novi, there's only one person that we could start with, right?
Only one.
Only one person, which brings us to where we are today. We are in the home of Mr. I Am Novi, Tom Marcus. Hi, Tom.
Am I branded, did you say?
You are branded. You are Novi. But thank you so much for inviting us over and being willing to share your story with Mayor and I.
Well, thank you for coming.
And, you know, I think a lot of people talk about community engagement, being a face of the community, which, you know, we have very, very many. We have diverse community with it, not just our older and younger population, but from Asian, Indian, Caucasian, African American. We are a very diverse community, but when I think of Novi, it's about people like yourself that give back to the community, and you could teach many others all the wonderful positive benefits about giving back to and being involved in your community. For how many years now? For
going on 51 years now.
51 years.
Yeah.
So you and your wife, Thelma, moved here in
1964.
64. From, where did you move from?
Well, I lived in, at the time I was living Southfield, after I got out of the service.
Okay.
Thelma was living at her mother's.
Okay, and that was in Southfield you were living?
No, Detroit.
Detroit.
Plymouth Road in Southfield.
So what made you in 1964 choose Novi? Because I'm thinking it's a very different Novi in 1964 than it is now.
Well, we had a neighbor there, and I just got out of the service, and he had owned a plumbing company, and next door was a hardware store, and the man was opening the first glass shop, Farmington Glass, in Farmington, and my mother-in-law had sold me her '57 Chevy, and we put signs out, but it was by the winery, and so and Westgate Realty was across the street, so I got talking to them, and he started showing us the houses, and we picked picked the house we're in. And,
wow.
And the years flew by, you know, but we were always involved. I mean, from day one, she was the smartest woman in the world. Or, she wasn't too smart. She married me, but she might even get me in heaven someday. Be with her again. But at the same time, she was tops in her school, and I wasn't the brightest kid in the world. In fact, matter is that maybe if I had went to Novi schools, which I did graduate from Novi.
Did Novi have schools in 1964?
Yeah, oh yeah, they just got going good with their football. You know, they used to play in Northfield and Novi. But when we found the house, like I say, it was just that little house there with one bathroom and all, and we got involved right away. We was a charter member of the JCs, and of course the Lions Club, and been on different boards, you know, park boards and things, and hospital, but just loved every minute of it. Yeah.
What made you get involved? Was it something you grew up with and your family was involved, or?
Well, yeah, I think because really, with my folks and all were always givers. They were always, you know, looking out for we were raised that way. We weren't raised with the idea of hate in our minds for anybody. I mean, you were saying there earlier about the different ones. Well, last fall here, I did a block party because we had 3 more families on the streets. You know, people, and Novi, I think we're showing the world how to live, because some people just hate, and they don't even know the person and why they're hating them. You know, and we're very diversified in the sub. And if you go through this sub, you'll think it's back in the 40s and 50s. That's just the way this subdivision is. When people, when I was, Thelma was sick with Alzheimer's and all, and then I got the cancer, and you should see, we could have thrown on weddings with the food that was coming into this house and stuff. And that's the way it is here. I mean, we all, and of course I'm still out playing jokes on this one or that one. I'm always, I had the Rice Krispie, what is it? I'm trying to think of the three of them on the Rice Krispie.
Snap, crackle, and pop.
Yeah, well, I've got them in the garage there, and I stuck them in the pine trees in people's houses way up. And at Christmas time, I decorate their houses while they were at work, and they'd come home, drive right by their house. They, you know, one of the fellows used to live down the street. He was Ohio State man, and I put a big M on his chimney, and
I love that.
And Mrs. Fortes lived across the street, so I put blue and gold all lights all over her bushes, but we've been that way for years. I could show you signs in the garage that they made up about me and different things and all. But that's what I love, people laughing, and I'll do about anything. Just stay one step out of jail because some of the stuff.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to hear a little bit more about your involvement in Novi and what it has meant to you, your family, and then we're going to share what it's meant to the community. So sit tight, don't go away, and we'll be right back with Mr. Marcus.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Update Novi. Mayor Gatt and I are here with Mr. Tom Marcus, Mr. Novi, as we like to say, and he is definitely Novi. Been here 50-some years, 54 years?
51.
51 years. When you think about Novi and somebody just moving to Novi, Tom, what would be a piece of advice you could share with them? What would you say?
Well, the biggest thing I would say is that don't just work somewhere else and sleep here. Get involved. Get involved. Another big thing is know your neighbors. I come from a wonderful family. I don't know, 7 of us kids and all, but we always knew how to be involved that way. I mean, you'd help put in driveway when you were little even. I mean, and anything that had to be done, so you just do it, you know. And your neighbors, the first thing you should do is the neighbors should come to you first, really. I mean, that was the secret here, that when we moved in, the neighbors came forward, and then that gets you involved to know what's going around. Don't listen to hearsay. Get it from the horse's mouth, you know, and because that's a big.
I think he looked at me and he said the horse.
I did too.
No, but I mean, the object is to hear two sides of the story.
Yeah.
You know, there's and don't be scared to look at somebody and say you love them, because really, I've got friends, you know. I got a harem, they call them on the street here. Yeah,
this is a family show.
No, this is all right.
Show.
This is all right. I knew their husbands, and we did things together and all. But that's they'll tell you they're my harem, you know. But the idea is that I miss those guys because I am a man's.
Sure, I started with the city in the mid '70s, so Tom had been established a little bit, but not knowing anything about anybody or any of the doings in Novi, one of the first things that came to light in my world in Novi was the gala days. And there was a man named Tom Marcus who sponsored gala days, I think all by himself, pretty darn close.
Well, we did the 50s.
Well, tell about gala days.
The 50s with the ice cream social. Yeah, gala days was long before even I got here, but I brought my uncle up the farm there. I brought his Belgians down, the covered wagon, and we opened the first glass shop in Novi on Grand River, where Discount Tire is, in a pole barn back there. We had $5,000 or $6,000, all we had, and we grew with the town. But we treated people the way we wanted to be treated. And I miss the small businesses today, you know.
Every year, Tom would close down his business and invite the whole community in.
Christmas time and
He
all.
would cook Marcus burgers for us, for
That
everybody.
guy, you were talking about Liba Gall. Liba Gall his dad used to take him to one on Jefferson by Belle Isle.
Okay.
And I was 2 years old or something when I lived above it. We played on the roof. 2 or 3 years old I was. But he talks about that all the time. He wants me to call him every time I do the burgers. They were marked as all steak, is what they were called. And I did them 10 times last year here in Novi, believe it or not. I did them all over the place. But it's just the memories that people get from that. People love their memories. You know, they go back to where they were born, and it's never the same. So you change with times. I love Novi as much today as I did the day I moved in. You know, I mean, and the family. I have to tell you, what Novi schools. When Mrs. Marcus passed away, or went home, I call it. She didn't pass away. She's home and I'm on leave. But when she passed, I'm sitting in the church, and who come in but 8 of the boys in their varsity jackets, and the coaches and the athletic director, and sat down in the row right across from us. The hardest day of my life was they made it the easiest. I mean, it was unbelievable. I probably shouldn't tell this, but when I was walking out, I'm always talking. I'm quite a talker when I'm not nervous. But
I didn't know that.
When they'd went ahead of me. The boys were out there watching putting Marcus in the hearse, and well, you know, in church they used the end center on the casket. Well, Mrs. Marcus used to run the smoke machine, and I said, I wanted those boys to feel a little better. I said, hey, fellas, I said, do you see that? I said, do you remember Mrs. Marcus used to run the smoke machine? She got smoked. I said,
Oh, no.
well, I had to loosen them up a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I took, last fall, they changed the grass. They went to artificial turf. And I cut a piece out where she used to sit and took it over and put it on her grave.
Aw, very cool.
But we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. You hear me say that all the time. If you live your life and learn, love as many people as you can, have as many friends as you can, because that's what gets you through life. I tell that at the football banquets. I say, go to your reunions, because I've seen it happen where they've owned their own businesses, and a lot of you will have jobs because it's who you know so much.
Well, we are so blessed to have you here in Novi, and that 51 years ago you chose Novi, and have continued to be involved, because you are definitely a shining example to anyone in the community that wants to get involved or has tried, or you've done it all, sir.
Well, I was
really
shy
have.
when I was young. I was very shy, believe it or not.
Well, we are very blessed and grateful to have your continued support and friendship, and very proud to call you Novi, because you are Novi.
Well, you guys are all my brothers and sisters. That's the way I look at people. I don't. Father Bryant said one time, he said, and at service one day, he says, it's not who you were, it's who you are. So that's why we have a strong police department, fire department, and all. And if you see something happening out there, speak up, because that's what's making Novi what it is today. It might be a bigger city, but it's still a small town atmosphere.
Yeah, you know, it still does.
Yeah.
It still does. Any parting words, my friend?
Mr. Novi, that's all I can say.
No. So thank you very much for opening your home to us.
Yes.
And sharing a little bit of time and some of your stories. And I see some more stories. I think we need to, gentlemen, get with him and get some of these fun things documented. And we've talked about a history piece. I think we could do something with that. Seems that you know a lot of people here around the neighborhood, and through Kathy and Hugh, and I bet there's a lot of fun stories to capture.
There's a picture there in the kitchen there with a real young man. I don't know if he was eating one of them Marcus all-steak hamburgers or not, but it happened to be the mayor.
Oh, really? Was it?
Really?
I'll have to look at that.
Probably has some hair, so.
We'll have to look at that. But thank you again, my friend, for opening your door. And don't be surprised if I have these gentlemen come knocking sometime and we get some stores. Again, we have a great new show called Now You Novi. I got it right, guys. Can you believe it? Now You Novi, and there might be some great little tidbits that we could use. So thank you again. You are Novi, and we look forward to your continued friendship for many years to come.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you all for watching us on this edition of Update Novi. Until next time, be safe and take care.